Dating apps are misaligned with human flourishing. We never evolved to be endorphin-chasing addicts mindlessly swiping in the hopes of getting a match. We were not designed to use filters or have one-night stands with strangers. But dating apps, even the app made to be deleted, don't profit from people quickly finding long-term relationships and irrevocably departing from the app. They have three revenue sources: ads, subscriptions, and one-time purchases. And with each, the longer that the user stays on the app, the better. It would not be difficult to fix this incentive structure. A dating app like Hinge could charge a single time upfront fee to users and place it in escrow. If the Hinge user found a long-term relationship lasting at least 1 year from the app, then the money would all go to Hinge. If they gave up or found a relationship off app, the money would go to a pre-vetted charity of the user's choice. Hinge would then financially benefit from placing users in long-term relationships as quickly as possible. And if Hinge concluded that a user was a lost cause, they would reasonably want to cut him or her loose, letting the charity have their money and opening spaces to show users who might actually wind up in a relationship to each other. With Hinge profiting exclusively from the creation of long-term relationships, there would be no reason to show a woman seeking a long-term relationship a profile of a man who had plenty of dates but was a player who would never commit. And there would be no reason to ever show a profile of a woman already swamped in matches and not going out on dates to a man who was seeking a long-term relationship. The incentives would be fixed, and the social messaging of spending money on Hinge would also dramatically improve. Rather than spending money on a dating app, branding you as a mark who got tricked into paying tribute, paid users would be seen as either investing in a long-term loving relationship or donating to charity, both of which are seen as noble. I think that the first dating app that voluntarily adopted such a model would succeed financially on a spectacular scale. It's the kind of dating app that I could actually imagine paying for. But let's imagine that dating apps are unwilling to voluntarily change. What is our recourse then? Well, the government could force them to via regulation. Or the government could do it themselves, which is already occurring in Tokyo and doesn't seem completely beyond the realm of possibility for a figure like Zoran Mamdani if he wins the New York City mayoral election. But if you think the government regulation or government-run dating websites seem a bit dystopian, here's an alternative. Remember Andrew Yang's democracy dollars? Well, love dollars is the same idea. Each single person in the country would receive love dollars from the government. They could only be spent on dating apps or events. The love dollars would be released to the dating app only when the user certified that they'd found a long-term relationship of at least 1 year on the app. If not, the money would return to the government. Dating apps would clamor to win these love dollars by creating long-term relationships. And long-term relationships lead to kids. So our government, which desperately needs future citizens to avert demographic collapse and prevent it from turning our country into a children of men style dystopia, benefits. In fact, these love dollars would be the most efficient dollars that the government has ever spent. Every single time they spent money on these love dollars, it would be because a long-term relationship that might bring children into the world and ensure the future of our country had been created. Love dollars could bring dating apps incentives into alignment with human flourishing. Now, there's one last thing that I want to note. I didn't write this because I had some embittering personal experience with dating apps or I'm encouraging you to boycott them or anything like that. One of my friends just found a long-term relationship on Hinge, but I've heard about friends' bad experiences. I've heard about the time wasted, the emotional energy fruitlessly drained. And it became painfully clear to me that if the dating apps had a better incentive structure, those experiences would largely have been averted. Dating apps don't have to be as broken as they are.